Luckman's Model Mania. Today we're going to be working on E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial Stage 20 from Universal and Fanhome. Let's go ahead and open the book up, and this is the second time we're going to be told to take something apart that we've already put together. And I know that some people are like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wait and do it first. The thing about when you put it together the first time and then you have to take it apart and you put it back together, you could strip screws out. There is that. But you also have the threads pre-cut, and so when you're doing it the second time, it might be a little bit easier. So in here we have some electronics that are going to go into the head, and I'm really curious about this what do they call it? Contactless sensor. I'm wondering what that is, because it's a contactless sensor. I wonder if it's like an antenna or what it's actually going to be. So there's the parts. We have that PCB board, or PCB board, printed circuit board. We have a cable, and two screws. The two screws are for this board, because that board will actually attach inside the head. And there's E.T. in all his glory, but now we got to rip his face off. So the first thing we have to do is take the 6 screws holding the top of the head on back out. This one I hope will come out, because this one, if you've watched, it appears that the plastic inside the front, the face part, is stripped out. Of course, a smart person would have looked ahead and said, okay, I'm not going to tighten these down quite so tight. Everything else got snugged in there really good. This one in the front, not going to be a big issue. Not going to be an issue at all. So we got that. And I had heard that we were going to have to take these back out. Not concerned about it. I think it works out really well, especially because I actually had to take the left half off to get both halves to fit perfect before. And this actually gives me a chance to take a look and see. Not sure why that wasn't catching. Unless the screw is just not hitting. Okay. So now that we've got this out, or this apart, we're going to take this board, and that wafer plug here is going to go down. The screws are going to go right here through the board. Hang on. So we got the wafer plug down. Screws go right there through the board, and I'm going to be very careful not to over torque these, because you don't want to break the board. And I like the fact, it could be a little bit irritating to have to take parts back off. On the other hand, this board, had you put it on and not done the shell of the head, if it was not done first or done immediately at the same time, you can inadvertently snap the board. I'm going to go in there straight. It's just not, the screw just does not want go in straight. Get the big screwdriver out again. Only getting the big screwdriver out because it drives the screws a little bit nicer. Something a little bit better to grip. So that's good. Let's switch back over, make sure it's tight. That one's tight. That one's tight. And now this is where we're going to start running wires and getting them in place. So the first thing it wants you to do is take the I servo motor, which is, looking at this like this, it's going to come up around here. An I servo motor, okay, that is the big one. Let's move this out of the way. I servo motor is going to go on this side, on the right side here. You can only go in there one way. Put it in there, clips in really nicely. Then we're going to take the mouth servo motor, do the same thing. It's going to clip in here. And the key thing is you just want to kind of route them where they fit conveniently. You want it underneath here. You don't want it running all over the place. You don't want it by any holes, any screw holes. Just kind of like that. Let's go ahead and turn the page. Set this down, turn the page, and we're going to do the other two servo motors. But first I'm going to go up and talk to one of my dogs because he's out in the backyard being a noisy monster. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the switch for the eyes, which is this one right here, small black one, and it is going to go right here on this next plug. It should just plug in there really nicely. And you can see it is a lot thinner wire than the others, and it's just a really small black wire, and that is because it is just for a discrete line. It's a sensing line. When it closes the circuit, it puts power through the wire, telling it to stop. So there's that. And then we're going to take this last one, which is the switch for the eyelids. That one right there. We're going to plug it in, and that's all the wires plugged in. I'm just looking. So the next thing they want you to do is to take this panel here. And I don't see, they have the red on this side, so you want to make sure you have it correct. I'm just double checking. Okay, it's going to work either side of the wire you put in there. Because if you put this side on here, the red ends up on the right now left-hand side. If you put it the other way, it does the exact same thing. Not really enthused about trying to push this too hard in here because there, it's just attached to this really flimsy panel. So now that that's on there, it says to take this tape for the backing here off, and you've got it's a sticky back. You take your head, your assembly that you took off, and you line it up nicely within guessing this is a one-shot deal. You only get to do it once. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is an antenna or what. I do know there's a blemish on it right there. Came out of the package that way. Hopefully that's not going to cause any issues. And this wire is going to come down. Let's turn the page. This wire is going to come down inside of here, inside the head, and plug into the board right here. And I like what I'm seeing, because it looks like so far they could possibly be doing central power for him. There we go. It wasn't seated. It looks like they could do central power for E.T., which would be great. And now, very carefully, reinstall the top of his head, making sure you get the lugs on there and you do not pinch any wires. And I have the middle screw is ready to go in on both sides. So we got that one started. Wondering if I should put something across the top of that sensor part. It would really suck to get him all put together and find out that he doesn't work because that sensor got damaged during the build. I'm tightening these all the way down because they have been in before. The next one I'm going to do is this one over here that seemed stripped out. I just want to make sure that I get it in there and hopefully it grabs something. Yeah, it is still stripped out, but it is catching enough to where it's going to hold it. Here is the one on this side. And then we got the last two back in the very back of his head. I will tell you guys, I am very excited to see how this all comes together. I'm hoping they're going to give us something to test it with sooner rather than later. My guess is that since we tested everything while we were building, they're going to leave this completely alone for the next several issues, if not a year. So looking up inside, these wires are not pinched. They're free to move. These are free to move. Everything looks good. Everything looks like it should be free to move and not pinched at all, which is what I really, really was hoping for. Get back in there. But that, my friends, is all there is to do in this stage. So get rid of this backing paper. Make sure nothing more after this. No, there's not. So, like I said, that's all there is to do in this stage, and kind of unique out of the last few videos because it's only one stage in this video. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I post new content. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have a great day. Have a great day tomorrow. And I'll see you in the next video.